to be very organized. We're very good at managing. So I'd rather focus on that and just and just put and then use them to achieve what I need to achieve. That's just the truth. There are many other stereotypes. In fact, they say men are too hard. They don't cry easily. Different things. But in order not to let these things deter you, I mean, and the interesting part is that it's true. Some women are emotional. Sometimes we allow it to get in the way. It affects our performance. But at the end of the day, there's a place for retraining your brain to that these are weaknesses, and I like to see them as just strengths and weaknesses. I don't attribute them to gender. So if you identify them as this is your problem, then you work on it, do the best you can, focus on your strengths and leverage on them in the workplace.
Awesome. So you said leverage on the strengths of whatever thing you have instead of focusing
Yes.
on the weaknesses. Awesome. Thank you so much. My next question would go to Ms. Adeze Ngahuru. And my question is, women usually, or most times, I've also had that experience before, where you feel there's this imposter syndrome. You probably have the qualifications
Yeah.
to do what you want to do. You have the skills, but there's just this hold back. You're afraid of what people see you and think that you're fraudulent, that you're a fraud. How have you in your own career, moved past that feeling or that mindset of the imposter syndrome?
Okay, thank you very much. Imposter syndrome is as a result of lack of confidence. And that lack of confidence is as a result of the stereotype women face at their workplace. So I've also been in that category of imposter syndrome. I've actually had a personal experience, which I was actually the only qualified person for that post. And then because I was the only female invited for the interview, and then I had this, imposter syndrome is not being able to accept your qualifications or having extreme self-doubt. You have the qualifications you need. You've gone through the training. Women naturally, they work twice as hard as men because they know that they have to always be on top. So because of this imposter syndrome, it has caused a lot of women not to be on the table, on the decision-making table. And then it has been a study that a lot of women, when there's a job opening and then they see that they are qualified 60%, they might not be able to apply for that job. While some men, even if they have 10%, they will go for that job because they feel the confidence that the good things are supposed to come to them. They are entitled to good things. But ladies, because of what we go through in life, right from childhood, you are supposed to be in the kitchen, the mentalities have been built in our brain right from childhood. We end up growing up with that mentality that maybe we don't deserve this, or maybe the men are better suited for this kind of situation. So like me, I'm in a male-dominated profession, and I've gone through that. What I did to build up my confidence was to develop myself more. I'm always an advocate for self-development. The more you develop yourself, the more confidence, the more your confidence builds. You understand? So you have to be intentional. You have to first of all identify that this is what you're going through, and then you'll be able to, do things, intentional things that will help you overcome that mindset. It's a mentality thing. So what I did to overcome mine was to do things I think ordinarily I don't deserve in the right sense. Not that it's just a mentality thing, like I said. I tried doing things outside my comfort zone, going outside my comfort zone to make things happen, to take lead in certain situations. And you get to know that once you do it the first time, do it the second time, at the third time, you won't even remember that you had doubts that maybe I won't be able to do this. So what I advise is you intentionally try to go out of your comfort zone, train yourself, do things I think ordinarily you might not deserve or say. Go for pick up speaking, if like the way I've been invited to speak now. when Tamara knows me very well, when I was coming up, I was a very, very shy person. Despite my career, when I come to court, I know it's court. I don't feel that shyness. But when I go outside to talk to people, I always have this state fright because I say, oh, what if they notice that, oh, my dress is not nice? Or what if they notice that, oh, you just start thinking of things that are not necessary. But once you have that confidence, once you intentionally build your confidence, and then build your career skills, build your skills in different areas you want to specialize in, you won't even know when you overcome that syndrome per se. You wouldn't know when you overcome them. And then you learn to not pick fights. Like when people, stereotype you at the workplace, there are some fights that are not worth it. You just do prove yourself by your actions. There are sometimes that you don't even need to exchange words with people, because once you react to certain things, they'll say, it's because she's a lady, just like the previous question you asked. Women are more emotional, women are this. You just ignore certain things, face your work, provide value. You will see that things will keep moving smoothly, and you won't even remember you had that, you were in that situation at any, just like that, you overcome that syndrome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love when you said pick your fight. It's not everything you have to respond to. People would always, have certain opinions about you, about the way you dress, about the way you speak, about the way you carry yourself in public, or, generally. But pick what is worth your time and your attention. My next question would be, so thank you so much, Adeze, and to all our speakers so far. My next question would be to Ugochi Uchenna. It's generally said that to deal with a thing, you have to locate the source. So what's your own personal experience, and how can women respond to people who are bent on stereotyping us?
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry, I had issues. You can't see me.
No, we can't see the video.
I thought you could see me.
You can go ahead to start your video.
Can you see me now?
Yes. Okay, so we before you answer my question, please tell us about yourself and things that you do.
Okay. My name is Ugochi Uchenna. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Innovation Growth Hub. And at Innovation Growth Hub, we try to use technology, or over time, we have used technology to build businesses. And also, we also encourage startups and incubate them. And more importantly, we also have a way of incorporating more women in this business, especially in tech businesses, so that it is not only the men that should be doing some kind of business or some kind of technology startups or so. So that is it.
Thank you so much. So to your question.
Thank you. Sorry, what's my question, please?
Okay, how do we deal with people who are bent on stereotyping us, on stereotyping women?
Okay. In our society, once you are a woman, you're expected to act in a certain way. You're expected to be caring, you're expected to be warm, you're expected to look out for people. There's always a mentality that a certain way people expect you to be and how they expect you to react. While on the other hand, in leadership roles, you're expected to be dogged, and you're expected to be decisive and all that. So you see that there is no, in reality, with what has been, or where they have placed women, there's no leadership role for women in that, because it's in contrast, okay? So we find out that that's why over time, we have now been trying to change the narrative and make sure we include women in some of these male-dominated, whether jobs, career, or whatever. So now what we need to do to kick against these stereotypes is to learn. You have to learn that these things are there. So the next thing we need to do is, how are we going to do this? And learning is not just, because I advocate for personal development, because most times when people want to do anything, especially that imposter syndrome, they tend to hold back. They tend to hold back a lot. So you have to learn from people, especially from women who are already out there. You understand? We can borrow a leaf from them. And also we need to speak up. We need to speak up. Because if you don't tell people, this is how I want you to take me, or this is how I want you to treat me, they keep treating you the way the society has always treated women. So we need to learn, we need to speak up, and then we need to react. Okay? In as much as I agree that we need to pick our fights, all right? When somebody makes when people make comments about women in a certain way, we need to react positively, in a way to make them understand that, no, we are no more this kind of people. We are no more in that kind of way. This is how we want to be treated, and this is how we want it to be from now on. All right. I was listening to an American celebrity one time who was asked her favorite position on a radio program or something. And she just paused and she was like, CEO. Because most times when people see women, they try or tend to be, I won't say abusive, but they try to use their comments to fight you. So as women, we should be able to try to understand that we should react to such things. Those comments that try to bring you down or try to condescend you, you treat them in a positive way, so that the person that is stereotyping you has an issue and not you as a woman.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have one question that I think that a lot of women in this panel would, whether in the workplace, in school, would be able to relate with. And I would also, speak from my own personal experience. And I want us to be a bit more practical with our responses and how women can practically deal with this situation. So for someone like me, I'm pretty curvy. I'm shapy, and most women are. But the society would often put your sex, I don't know if to call it, your femininity first, before your brain, before your intelligence. Okay? And we've seen in the workplace that sexual harassment rises up a number of times. If you speak to women, 5 women, you would find out that 4 out of 5 women have experienced sexual harassment. Okay, it may not be your experience. It's as I've experienced it in the workplace. Women, the other gender, men, even sometimes women, who say things like, "Oh, fine girl." But they look at you in that fine girl manner, rather than understanding that you're more than your body, you're more than your beauty. You can bring value to the table. How can, or rather, how have you had, if you've had that experience, fine, you can speak from your experience. But if you've not had that experience, that's also fine. But how did you deal with sexual harassment in the workplace, and what would your advice be for women? My first question would be to Talatu from Clean Technology Hub.
Okay, thank you. Sexual harassment is it's a very interesting topic. I'm sure everyone can relate to that on some kind of level. The first thing I want to say about that is women tend to not talk about it as often as they should. I remember one time we sat in school and a group of us, about 5 to 6 people, were harassed by the same lecturer, but nobody spoke about it until that particular day, right? So you feel like this thing is peculiar to me, let me find how to deal with it. And another person thinks the same way, but by speaking up, we realized that everybody in that same room had been somewhat harassed or maybe he must have passed sliding remarks because that's what he does. I mean, so the thing about it is, as a woman, you have to set boundaries for yourself. That's the first thing. If you're unable to do that, you fall victim and a prey to the stereotypes as well as these incidences. And sometimes, even with those boundaries, we find that this is still looking at us in the face. So what is important is that, first of all, you speak up about this. You don't keep quiet. Silence is an enabler. I mean, people just continue doing what they do because nobody's calling them out on it. Nobody's saying, you can't treat me like this. You can't act in this manner. This is a professional environment. I do not want to be treated in this manner. So you need to speak up. That's the first thing you need to do. Secondly, if you can report to the HR or the people in charge, by all means do that. You deserve to be treated with respect. I don't know how many times we need to say this, but women tend to forget that they're valuable. They're not sexual objects. They have what they bring to the table, and they need to be reminded of that. So as we remind ourselves, we need to also let them know, let the people who are doing this, the perpetrators, and their enablers, let them know that this is happening in the workplace and it cannot continue. I've had my fair share. I remember one time although I wasn't really cornered, like I said, there are different levels of the thing, but I usually stop it at the remarks. I'm also very curvy, like Bestie said, and people tend to objectify me or just say, you know what, but by the time you remember that, look, I will not take that, and I'm constantly reminding that, look, I do bring something to the table. I cannot be treated less or treated differently. I think we need to keep reiterating that. And by doing that, people get the message. So let's not give up. It's a battle. It's something that we have to keep doing. You have to be consistent in putting it out there. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you said speak up, set boundaries, and report perpetrators and enablers. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to go on to Adeze Ngbahuru. Please, over to you.
Okay, on dealing with sexual harassment, well, first of all, we need to actually understand what it means, because a lot of people misinterpret what sexual harassment is. Sexual harassment can come in form of physical, verbal, or non-verbal, because some people can see non-verbal styles and they won't know that they're even sexually harassed. Physical is maybe grabbing you or maybe grabbing any part of your body, or why verbal is saying it with your mouth, just like she said, oh, you're very fine, oh, you are shapy. You know, that's another form of sexual harassment. Then there's non-verbal, when a man uses his eyes to size you, look at you seductively, it's another form of sexual harassment. So these are like the classifications of sexual harassment. If you're in this category, you've been sexually harassed. And then there are two forms. There are two reasons for sexual harassment, like something like something for something. Like they are telling you, oh, if you sleep with me, you will get this promotion, or if you sleep with me, you will pass this paper. That's like a form of sexual harassment. Or maybe they make things very hard for you so that you come to them and then they will have the opportunity to make advances at you. So on dealing with sexual harassment, if is in an organization or maybe in a university, first of all, you have to document it, because if your act is really difficult to come up, just like she said, it's difficult for women to speak up when they're sexually harassed, because they fear that they will be victimized, or maybe if it's a job, maybe they will be sacked, or especially if it's their boss that is involved. So speaking up is a big step, and it's something that someone has to, mentally prepare themselves for. So on dealing with sexual harassment, what's our advice is, first of all, you have to document it, because if you're going to report it, you have to have proof that it actually happened. So the first thing you do is that you document the harassment. Then the second thing you do is that you make it clear that it's unwelcoming. You talk to the person in the polite way possible. This is crossing my boundary. This is, I'm not accepting this. It's unwelcoming to my person. Or you explain it to the person. If the person still persists, then you go through the company policy of reporting such incident. If it means reporting to your direct supervisor, or reporting to the person's supervisor, or maybe going straight to the human resource. There are structures in an organization. So you have to follow the structure and properly report. And when you are reporting, of course, you have to have the documented evidence. If he called you at certain points, or if he did certain things, you have the documents. It mustn't be a written document. At least you have the incidents, you know how to narrate it and be able to prove that. A lot of people deny that they actually harassed somebody. That's why before I started, I classified the forms of sexual harassment, because a lot of people go through, they don't even know they are going through it. So if you go through the HR and it doesn't work, and then you are being victimized at work, I advise you go to NGOs that help women, like FIDA. We have international international women lawyers. They help women in this situation, women that are victimized at work, maybe because they've gone through sexual harassment like we're discussing now, and then they'll be victimized. We have organizations like FIDA that won't even charge you anything to help you handle this situation. So these are the options I've listed out. Document it, and talk to the person, and explain to the person that it's not something you accept. The first step is to report, go through the structure of the company and report. And if nothing is done, you can go outside, maybe to an NGO like FIDA, for example, to report. Or Women Consortium of Nigeria is basically what they do. They support women that go through stereotypes, inequality in their workplace, and sexual harassment. So that's on sexual harassment. If you're talking about dealing with sexual harassment, you can also talk to a therapist about it, talk to friends about it, discuss with a lawyer about it, who will advise you on the best step to take in that situation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. Document it. Yeah. Make it clear that what they are saying or doing to you is unwelcoming, and report through the proper structure of your organization. And that is also important, because sometimes if you just go on social media to report such things without going through the right process, you're at risk of losing your job. You're at risk of being victimized, being victimized and made like ridiculed if you don't follow through the processes. You can also reach out to NGOs. And lastly, look for people you can confide in to share such information, whether a therapist or a lawyer, a close friend. It could also be like your religious or your spiritual leaders. Exactly. Thank you so much, Adeze, for that insight. I'm going over to Oluwakemi. Over to you, please. We have a limited time now, so please try to stay within time. Thank you. Okay, I'll need to. Okay, please go ahead to unmute yourself.
All right, thank you. Still falling back at what the other speakers have said about reporting, I will just use a scenario. I remember when I did my master's years ago, my project lecturer, supervisor, this is somebody that my mom was the one that helped him into that department when she was the secretary in that department some years ago. And, he knew me when I was in primary school, when I was still wearing my pampers and all, you understand, knew how I grew up and all. And then getting to do my master's in the same department, and then him be my co-supervisor, he was trying to like throw some, interests, I'll call it sexual harassment as far as I'm concerned. And immediately I didn't, that ladies at times you not learn to say no. I told him it won't happen. You understand? I was very blunt about it. That, sir, you are my brother. This will not happen, And the guy kept on and on. Now, it now got to him approving my pages, my project supervision, and he now kept, after doing the right thing, he kept frustrating me, kept frustrating my efforts. You know what I did? There was a day I was like, I need to sort out this thing because I was planning to go on a vacation, and then it was just for me to come back and then finish the whole thing. And then he was still on, like, he's not going to approve this thing. You know what I did? I just stepped out of his office. I picked my phone, I called my mom, and I started crying. I reported him. I was like, see this man, remember this man that was living close to our house? He was like, is it the same person that I am? I said, yes. He's giving me stress. My mom said, send his number. And then my mom calls him. And I was like, how are you? A long time. Uh-uh. Your sister said that you are stressing and that she told me she was crying. She just went straight to the point that why are you stressing your sister now? I'll put my work now, go through and correct what you need to correct. So after he was one that came out to call me, I was like, come here, why did you go and call your mom? So I had to, what I did was to speak up, report him, like, I've already told you that this is not going to happen, and it's not really going to happen. And he approved the pages that day. And what I did was that there's at times like you just let things, you just try to create a boundary. So what I did was that when I traveled, I got him few things, and I was like, Ebon, this is what I brought for you, and and that was how my whole project was approved. I got my good points, and I graduated. So learn to say no. You understand? Set boundaries, and when it comes to you, when it comes to something you can't handle anymore, speak out. Report to the necessary authorities or somebody can talk to whoever is trying to harass you, and it will all be fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ugochi, if you're there, over to you, please.
Okay. The next thing I want to add to the numerous things that have already been said is that we should learn not to undersell ourselves as women, right? You find out that there are some situations whereby when you go to a place, or it's already maybe in an organization where when you come in, they tell you that this is the norm here. Everybody accepts, including the women that are there already. They tell you that this is the norm here. It's either you do it or you do it. They won't even give you an option. You understand?
I'm going to step in and emphasize that you're possible, or give clarity. What kind of norms are you talking about? Because sometimes there are some organizations that are into sales and marketing, and they require you to go out into the field to speak to clients and use your feminine side to sort of convince these men or these clients to patronize the company. Is that the kind of norm you talk about?
No, not that. There are organizations, especially in the public, this thing. When you come, they will tell you that whatever you do, the boss here is like this. Everybody there is aware of it. Okay, so they already know. So it's not left for you to say, no, I refuse to be treated like this. I refuse to accept this, because in as much as we want to fit in as much as we want to change the ongoing stereotype that is already happening, we should be able to know when to let go. You go there, somebody is insisting, because I know one of the things that make people not to speak up is when they speak up, nobody believes you. Even when you document it, nobody will even believe you. Okay, and you have done that, and they are saying, or the person involved is even the owner of the organization. What can you do? You walk away. And you find out that most times, women tend to even offer that. So there are jobs that if you don't have what it takes to handle a job, you leave the job. All right? If we don't have what it takes to get the mark, you leave the mark. When I as an undergraduate, I was writing my project. My professor told me plainly that whatever it is I write, that will not get, if I write very well, I'll get a C. I said, why? In fact, he has not even seen my topic. I just went to say, oh, guy, you are my supervisor. He said, okay, go and try now. If you write very well, you get a C. If you don't write very well, you get a D. I'm like, how can I get D or C in a 6 credit load project? And that was how it was. He will call you and say, okay, come on. I said, I'm not going. And I insisted that even if he gives me a C, I will go with the C. I don't know if you're getting me. I would have to go with the C. So I moved. When I submitted my project, I went home. He submitted it and he gave me a C. Then when the external examiners came, they supervised my project, and they called him. Why did you give this student a C? He couldn't defend himself. They marked it down and upgraded the project to a B.
Good.
So it's not left for us not to undersell ourselves, no matter the situation, because there's nothing worth dying for. If they cannot accept you the way you have placed yourself as a woman, then they don't deserve you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I absolutely love this panel of women. We are resilient. We know what we want and what we deserve. But I want to give an opportunity to anyone who has a question in the comment section. Okay, so Tolu Lopez says, sometimes verbal proofs are hard to document, particularly if the harasser is a fan of the people. Yes, that is true. But as much as possible, if you can, record conversations, these things are also admissible in some jurisdictions. If you can record these things, even if it means, doing a video of yourself explaining what happened, that would also suffice. Okay. If you have any questions in the comment section, please feel free to ask your questions. I want to say a big thank you to Talatu, Tafa, to Adeze, Oluwakemi, Ugochi. Thank you so much for making out time. We're 5 minutes past the time we set for this event, but it has been an absolutely amazing time. I'm sure that a lot of us got value from this session. Please tell us in the chat section what you learned and how this event has been beneficial to you. But a big thank you to our previous speakers as well, Madam Ifoma Malo and Jessica Okoli. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to our organizers, to Innovation Growth Hub. Thank you so much to our CEO as well for believing in us as women. Thank you for all you do in the technology space. A big thank you to the African International Trade Women's Network. Thank you so much for making the time and for partnering with us to achieve this. Thank you also to Clean Technology Hub, and a big thank you to Bestie Network Africa that is supporting women to live their best life. Thank you again to all our speakers. Thank you to all our participants. We appreciate you. We'll share a feedback form right after this event. It will be in your email, so please fill the form. If you would also share a link where we'll be providing opportunities for women to thrive and to grow. Once you see the link in your email address, please do not hesitate to fill and to click on the link to join our support communities. We love you, we appreciate you, and this is me saying thank you so much. I celebrate you. Don't stop working hard. Don't stop growing. Don't stop learning. Don't stop. There's something Mrs. Ifoma said about mentorship, and I think it is very profound. Learn to add value to your mentors, identify mentors that align with your goals, but also learn to be a person of value to them as much as they will be of value to you. Thank you again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.